Welcome to the Explainer. You know, we're surrounded by these invisible networks that power our entire smart world. Think about it. From sensors out in a farm field to the machinery on a factory floor, billions, and I mean billions, of devices are coming online. They all have to talk to each other. But here's the kicker. How do they do it without their batteries dying in, like, a day?
All right, so here's what we're going to cover today. First, we'll get the lay of the land with the world of IoT. Then we'll check out the big contenders in this space. After that, it's the main event, LoRaWAN versus NB-IoT. We'll also dig into why private networks are such a big deal. And finally, we'll peek into the future of all this connectivity. All right, first things first, let's set the stage. You hear the term Internet of Things thrown around all the time, right? But it's not just some marketing buzzword. It's a full-blown revolution, and it comes with this huge kind of invisible problem that needs solving. And this is it. This is the core question that drives everything. I mean, picture a water meter buried under a sidewalk, or a tiny sensor way out in the middle of a massive farm. You can't exactly send a technician out there to swap the batteries every week, or even every year. So, how do you possibly make that work? So just so we're all on the same page, when we say IoT, we're talking about all these physical things, smart meters that track how much water you use, sensors that check the soil on a farm, heck, even connected mousetraps in a giant warehouse. And they're all just constantly sending these tiny little packets of data. It's this enormous interconnected web of, well, stuff. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. This whole thing creates a very specific set of problems. You need devices that sip power so slowly they can last for years on a tiny battery. You need a signal that can travel for miles to cover huge areas, and the whole setup has to be super, super cheap. I'm talking both the little gadget itself and the data fees. And your standard stuff, Wi-Fi, 4G, LTE, they just can't do all three of those things at the same time. Not even close. So, because of that challenge, this brand new category of tech had to be invented. It was designed from the ground up for exactly this job. It's called a low-power wide area network, or LPWAN for short. Now, in this LPWAN space, there are a few big players. You can think of them as taking different swings at the same problem. You've got Sigfox, which is definitely a player, but really, the main fight for who's going to rule this world has boiled down to two absolute heavyweights: LoRaWAN and NB-IoT. Okay, so let's get to the main event. It's time to put these two technologies head to head and see how they stack up. This is where we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what really makes them tick. All right, in one corner, you've got LoRaWAN. It's an open standard, and it uses unlicensed spectrum. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's basically the Wi-Fi for the Internet of Things. Anybody can build their own private network. Then, in the other corner, you have NB-IoT. This is a cellular technology. It piggybacks on the licensed airwaves that mobile carriers own. So it's essentially taking their existing cell network and extending it out to these tiny, low-power gadgets. And this number right here, this just perfectly shows off one of LoRaWAN's absolute biggest superpowers. Because it's so crazy efficient with power, a device running on just a small battery could, in theory, last for over 15 years out in the real world. That is a total game changer. Imagine you're a city utility company with thousands of water meters. This means you can install one and basically forget about it for more than a decade. No paying a technician to go fiddle with it. That completely flips the script on the costs for a big smart city project. So how in the world does it pull that off? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is right here. This chart is showing how much power the device sucks out at its peak, right when it's sending data. LoRaWAN sips just 32 milliamps. NB-IoT, on the other hand, gulps down 120. That's almost 4 times more juice. And it's simple math, right? The less power you draw, the longer your battery's gonna last. Way, way longer. And now we get to the money. This is a huge one. If you build your own private LoRaWAN network, what's your monthly data bill? It's a big fat zero. Zilch. Nada. Think about a massive farm that wants to put out tens of thousands of soil sensors. Not having to pay a monthly SIM card fee for every single one of those sensors, that's not just a nice little cost saving. It's the difference between a project that makes money and a project that's dead on arrival. This table does a great job of just laying it all out side by side. You can see LoRaWAN is the clear winner on battery life and really the total long-term cost, all because you can build a private network with no fees. NB-IoT, though, it's got convenience on its side. You just use the cell networks that are already there. But that convenience comes with a monthly bill, and the hardware itself costs a little bit more. I love this chart because it gives you the whole story in one glance. Look at that, LoRaWAN is just killing it on battery life and cost. But look over on the other side, NB-IoT is way better when it comes to throughput and latency. So what does that mean? Well, if you're, say, tracking a shipping container and you only need to know where it is once a day, LoRaWAN is perfect. But if you're building a smart traffic system where cars need to talk to each other in milliseconds, that's where NB-IoT's speed is absolutely critical. It really is about picking the right tool for the right job.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into this idea of cost and control. Because the fact that a company can just build its own private LoRaWAN network, that's probably one of its most powerful and honestly most disruptive features. And this quote here from the LoRa Alliance, it just nails it. When you own the network, you're in complete control. You're in the driver's seat. You get to decide how much data to send, how often, and you never have to worry about a surprise bill from your cell phone company. It all comes down to freedom and knowing exactly what your costs are going to be. So it really boils down to two different paths you can take. With LoRaWAN, you spend some money up front to set up your own gateways, but then you get the huge long-term win of 0 monthly fees and total control. With NB-IoT, you get to skip that whole hardware setup and just pay a subscription to a carrier. It's easier to get started for sure, but you're going to be paying that bill for as long as those devices are alive.
And this is where all that technical talk becomes real life. Let's say you own a vineyard, tucked away in some rural valley, miles and miles from the closest cell tower. You want to monitor the soil moisture so you can use water more efficiently. Well, with NB-IoT, you're just out of luck. No signal, no data. But with LoRaWAN, you can stick one little gateway up on a hill, cover your entire property, and get that crucial data. That data leads to better grapes and huge savings on water. That is the power of owning your network.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? In this big battle for the future of IoT, who's the winner? Who gets the crown?
Well, the truth is, it's a little more complicated than a simple knockout punch. The real question isn't just who wins, it's who wins for what specific job. So here's the bottom line. It really truly depends on the application. For that vineyard we talked about that needs coverage where there is none, or for the city that's laser focused on that 15-year total cost, LoRaWAN is a no-brainer. It's the obvious choice. But for a company putting smart parking meters all over a city that already has great cell service and needs those real-time updates, the simplicity and convenience of NB-IoT is absolutely the perfect fit. So they're not really just pure competitors. They're more like two different really important tools in the toolbox for building our connected world. And that's a really important thing to remember. Right now, today, while both of these techs are growing like crazy, LoRaWAN definitely has a head start. The whole ecosystem around it, the vendors, the number of certified devices, the ready-to-go solutions, it's just more mature. That means if you want to build something today, you'll probably find more off-the-shelf options with LoRaWAN. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. As our world gets smarter and we connect every last corner of it, from our cities to our farms to our homes, who's going to control the networks that run it all? Are we going to rely on the big carrier-controlled systems, or is the future going to be built on this foundation of open, private networks that anyone can build? The answer to that question is going to define the next decade of technology.